Hello, welcome back, and thank you for your support. Please like and subscribe. Now let's get down to it. Friday night came and I dressed a little differently. I wanted to give the impression that I was a rebel because, well, I was. I wore a pair of black jeans, black tank top with the logo Just Do It in white across my chest. I wore a pair of goth theme low-heeled boots. If I had to run, I wanted to be comfortable. For jewelry, I wore spiked rings and bracelets on both hands. Hey, I'm still a girl. The air was humid, but I found out that it didn't bother me. My hair didn't frizz up, a huge plus for vamps. To get the right look, I went to the salon and had my hair braided. I didn't need makeup thanks to vampirism, and I was out the door. Eric, I knew, was around, and I felt confident as I walked into the underground. The place was crowded, and I didn't attribute it to being Friday night either. It was because they all knew that Ruby was going to try to take me. She was already seated at a table when I arrived. She stood up and waved me over. I smiled all the way to the table. She had a carafe and 2 glasses ready for us. "Hi, Ruby," I said, greeting her. "Hey, girlfriend, you look ready for action," she answered, looking me up and down. "She's dressed up for a night out, but I've got a surprise for her," was her thoughts. I sat down and gave her my best smile. "I thought about it and decided to take you up on your offer. I gotta broaden my horizons, you know. Nobody cares about me here, so why not go somewhere else? I just might find acceptance, right?" "All right, drink up so we can get going. The ride to Queens is kind of long, so best eat now," Ruby said as she poured me a glass. I took the glass from her and immediately felt the tension around the room heightened. Everyone watched as I took my first sip. I noticed that she wasn't drinking, but I didn't say anything. The room was buzzing, and I even heard someone think that they wanted to leave when we did. Ruby signaled for the waiter and ordered another carafe. When it came, she poured herself a glass and saluted me. "I am so excited that you've decided to party with me tonight. So, you can have that whole carafe and I'll drink this one." She scanned her watch. "Ooh, bottoms up. Things will be starting soon." I can't wait to see the look on her face when the potion hits. She'll be putty in my hands, she thought. 3 glasses later, I felt full and only a tiny bit woozy. "I think I drank too fast. I feel a little lightheaded," I told her. "You did? Let's go outside. The fresh air might do you some good," Ruby said with fake concern. Did she think the drug made me stupid too? We didn't breathe on a normal basis, so what good was fresh air going to do for me? I shrugged and stood up, careful to add a little stumble to my steps, and followed her outside. I didn't question the car waiting outside for us, and got in following her lead. I felt worse, and my legs were numb. "Hey, Ruby, I don't feel so hot. Can you take me home?" I asked her just to see what she'd do. "Sure, honey, just sit back and relax." She reached over to pat me on the shoulder. The potion hit her quicker than it did the others. By the time it wears off, she'll be dead. Oh well, tonight's fun is going to be righteous, Ruby thought to herself. I tried not to panic, but her thoughts were scaring me. I didn't want to die again. This time it would be for good. I didn't think about whether I had a soul or not, and being undead wasn't natural, so probably not. But on the off chance that I could be redeemed, I wanted to live. My grandmother was a Baptist and made me go to church with her until I was old enough to make my own decision about religion. I didn't attend church anymore, but I tried to live by what I learned in Sunday school. I was a good person. It was why I tried to save Serge that night. I could see where we were going. We were headed for Brooklyn, not Queens. After a while, I saw signs for Prospect Park. When I was a little girl, my grandmother took me there once after visiting the museum. It was after hours, and Doug half carried me in. A night guard let us in, and they had the hunt trail rigged up with lights and cameras. I didn't see anyone, but I bet they were watching in comfort somewhere. The remedy I took was starting to take effect now, and I could feel my legs. Doug led me to where the others were waiting. The humans were in a cage, and they looked scared. There were 4 of them, and I was among 5 vamps. I had control of myself as I looked around. "Ruby, where are we?" I asked. "We're gonna play a game, don't worry." "Just have fun," she answered. I looked for her, but she was gone. I didn't have to pretend an almost insatiable hunger, and those humans were looking and smelling delicious. It had to do with the fear emanating from them. The other vamps were in full bloodlust, and they were crazed. I understood all too clearly what was going on with them and what happened to them. After being turned, these poor vamps weren't fed. The hunger they felt was uncontrollable, and they had no restraint. I watched in horror as the cage unlocked remotely. A disembodied voice instructed the captives to run if they wanted to live. The minute the last human stepped out of the cage and ran, the vamps were allowed to give chase. We were faster and stronger than the frail humans running for their lives. I ran too, but I held back. I caught up with one vamp who had already caught his prey. I felt sick to my stomach at the scene. The vamp had a vice grip on the poor human while he viciously tore at his throat. He was awkward and violent in how he fed. When he had had his fill, he threw his head back and roared like the animal he had become. At that point, I no longer saw him as human either. I felt a rage I had never felt before, and I ran at him. With elongated nails, I sliced at his throat, and he fell. I had learned that in a fight, we could instantly grow our nails into talons. An alarm went off, and it was my act that set it off. I ran to find the others, knowing full well that my every move was being recorded. To my horror, the distorted voice instructed the vamps to find and kill me. I realized that they announced it to make it more exciting for the viewers. There was a vamp in my path, and I slowed down to face her. Her clothes were still clean, which meant that she hadn't caught her prey yet. The sloppy smile on her face told me that she'd changed her mind about catching a human. I was her new prey. Did she really think she was going to eat me? I needed to keep telling myself that these people were no longer human. I attacked before she could, and she was down. I hurried to find the others. I could hear screams from somewhere up ahead. I ran toward the screams to find a bloody mess. Both vamps were there, and each had a human. I was too late to save the humans, but I wanted to make sure these vamps wouldn't be around to hunt another day. "Kill her, or you die too!" came the announcement over the loudspeaker. "She's not to leave here." The vamps dropped their victims and turned toward me as a unit. I turned to run, and they chased me. I used vamp speed, but because of their crazed state, they were faster. A male vamp caught up to me and jumped high over my head to land in front of me. I was too scared to be impressed. He growled at me, and I skidded to a stop. By this time, the other vamp caught up, and they both started circling around me. "Did you know that if we eat you, we gain your powers?" the jumper asked me. "Cool. What superpowers do you have?" I countered. "Enough!" "I'm still hungry," the other vamp growled. Before I could react, they were on me. I concentrated on keeping them off my neck. If I got sliced there, I'd be a goner for sure. When I got the chance, I punched them with my spiked rings. I tried to hit hard enough to pierce skin, and that's when things turned in my favor. Eric helped me prepare. Silver was poisonous to vampires. My rings were costume jewelry, but Eric dipped the spiky tips in pure silver. Once silver entered their bloodstream, they began to lose their strength. I continued to punch until they went down. I was hurting bad too. I must have gotten a dose of silver. I felt cold all over, and I couldn't stand. As I fell over, I could hear the sirens and then knew no more.